Good evening, everyone. October is finally here, and today I'd like to discuss the biggest challenge most gardeners face when growing cool season crops in a fall garden. The summer gardening season is over, and between the hot sun beating down on us, the extensive watering schedule, dealing with pests like stink bugs, aggressive wasps, mosquitoes, leaf hoppers, mole crickets, fire ants, and more, by the time fall rolls around, most of us are worn out from the summer gardening season. Cool season gardening can be a pleasant experience and a nice break from the summer gardening challenges. I love fall gardening. The humidity is lower, the air is cooler and much more refreshing, watering demands are much less, pest pressure is lower, and gardening is just overall simpler and less work. On top of that, cool weather crops tend to be easier to grow. The fertilizing demands are much lower than warm season crops on average, and many fall crops are frost tolerant as well. The relative ease of fall gardening can make gardening a much more enjoyable experience. But the biggest problems we face as gardeners when it comes to the fall growing season is the timing of our crops. Many of the cool season crops that grow well in the fall also grow well in the spring, but fall gardening has a major disadvantage. In the spring, we are working with the natural progression of the seasons, but in the fall, we are working against the natural progression of the seasons. There are many popular fall crops to grow: lettuces, spinach, kale, broccoli, cabbage, peas, turnips, beets, carrots, radishes, and so many more. But the challenge with these crops is they like to germinate during cool temperatures and mature in the early warm season. This works to our advantage in the springtime. Simply plant the seeds directly in the ground in the early spring while the ground is workable, but the nights are still cold and frosty and the days are still cool, and they will germinate with relative ease. As the season progresses, the nights and days get progressively warmer and the metabolism of the plants speed up and mature for a late spring, early summer harvest. In the fall, the opposite occurs. We lose heat as the year progresses, and in most climates, plants need to mature in the late fall while there is still enough heat and energy from the sunlight remaining to get your crops over the hump to maturity. In order to perfect that timing, seeds usually need to be sown in the summertime for the majority of us, when daytime and nighttime temperatures are much higher than we normally sow them in early spring. The result? Poor germination rates. Most cool season plants germinate well when nights are in the 40s and 50s and grow best when the days are in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. These are the conditions we see in early springtime for much of us across the country. For most of us during summer, nighttime temperatures are in the 60s and 70s, and daytime temperatures are in the 80s and 90s. If we direct sow our seeds into the earth, chances are many of our seeds will not germinate. If you live on the southeast coast like I do, nighttime temperatures are well into the 70s all the way until the end of September, and if most of us wait until nighttime temperatures are conducive to high germination rates, there won't be enough energy from the sun remaining to get your crops to maturity before the hard winter freezes set in. The solution to this problem is to start your plants indoors in a controlled environment where they can germinate at higher rates, then transplant the seeds outdoors in summertime to get a jump on the cool season. But there is yet another problem. Many of our homes during the summertime are kept climate controlled in the 70s, and even indoor room temperatures may be too high to reliably germinate cool season crops. This is where I like to use a little trick that has succeeded for me year after year: using your refrigerator to germinate cool season crops. In front of me, you'll see a container full of Jiffy peat pellets. While you are in no way obligated to use these pellets and can use simple 6-cell seed trays and basic potting soil to start your seed starts, I happen to love these peat pellet containers because they are almost identical to the size of a 1 dozen carton of eggs. They can be placed in your refrigerator, stacked on top of each other, and take up very little space. Simply hydrate your peat pellets, open and fluff them up, plant your seeds as per the instructions on the seed packet. In this case, spinach, where you can clearly see the instructions on the back. I generally like to slightly overseed each pod. In this case, I am placing 3 seeds per pod to almost guarantee that something will germinate. After you've placed your seeds, cover them with soil to the recommended depth as per the seed packet. Pop them into your refrigerator right before bedtime. And take them back out of the refrigerator during the day. Since most refrigerators are around 40 degrees Fahrenheit and most homes are kept around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, following this procedure almost perfectly mimics the highs and lows of the middle of the springtime. This will help your cool weather crop seeds germinate at higher rates so you can have plenty of seedlings to transplant during the summertime heat when they otherwise wouldn't germinate, and ensure your fall crops mature while there is still enough heat and sunlight remaining for a nice fall harvest. If you're at all curious about these Jiffy peat pellets, I will link to a video above in the top right corner that teaches you everything you need to know about using these peat pellets in your own garden. The seedlings that you see in the tray on the right is what you can expect about 14 days after sowing your seeds using this technique. Everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for future updates and more videos like these. If you like this video, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments section below. If you're curious about any of the products I use in my garden, everything I use is listed in the video description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again next time.